Hi guys, I'm Seb Tudor. I'm the man on the Silver Mountain. Welcome back. One of the first things that I wanted to talk about um, is that obviously I'm here and I'm talking to you guys about a collection of things, some of which may very well be um, touchy subjects for some people, and I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of people disagreeing with me on certain things that I say or do. Um, but I wanted to just tell you where I am from, what I've done before, and like who I am, so that you understand where I'm coming from when I say these things. Um, so, starting from the beginning, as all good stories start, I'm come from a very kind of working class family in well, the south of England, and I went to a very average set of schools. I moved between a couple of different secondary schools, um, went through my A levels, and then I deviated from the course that many of my peers did, whereby I thought that it would be a great idea to get experience of the world, to go out and see things, to get a job and earn some money, and to do as many other things as I could before going into university, as I thought it would better inform me on surviving without really using up much of a maintenance grant, so that that would be excess money to go towards my studies, and so that I wouldn't have as much of a worry about repaying my theoretical student debt once I had concluded whatever course I was going to do. Um, in which case, during that time, I taught English as a second language for a short time. I then went in and worked both from floor level all the way up to management level within um, the cinema industry, and then went travelling. And the travelling didn't go so well. I mean, adventures are never fun at the time that they're happening, but I had a few mishaps along the way, so that what was going to be a 2 year round the world um, excursion ended up ending in 3 months. At which point then I was unemployed and found the wonders of trying to deal with the job centre and trying to find a job just as the recession hit, which was fun, as I'm sure many of you can sympathise with. Um, at which point then, though, I ended up working in retail. I went straight in at the management grade, and I climbed my way up within that to an extent as well, gaining an extra couple of qualifications. And whilst I did apply for university, in the end it didn't seem as viable as it once did, and so instead, after well, nearly about 10 years working in management, I ended up um, moving on to coaching. I went and did my a couple of coaching qualifications with the Coaching Academy, which I was rather impressed with, as before that I was very much a skeptic of coaching. Um, I went to see a life coach when I was leaving college, to find out kind of like to give me some perspective, to find out what I was doing, and ultimately the the coach that I went to see just wasn't a good match with me. Um, she told me a lot of things that really made no sense to me. They weren't, she wasn't concise, she wasn't great, and to be fair, I wanted some clarity. But when I went back to her to ask if I could have a further session to more further examine what she had said, um, she wasn't available to do it. In which case, I had written off coaching as just someone throwing words at other people, and and that it wasn't for me. And then the more I kind of bounced off it throughout my career, I found that some coaches were really good. Certain business coaches I had, especially when I was doing qualifications through the companies that I was working for, were absolutely excellent. There were some that gave me such great advice, gave me perspective on my management and leadership skills, that I don't think I would have gotten otherwise, and I really, valued their time. But then there were the others, and these are the people that I don't have an awful lot of time for. Um, People that the worst one, I think, was one that suggested that guardian angels were a thing that could be introduced to coaching, which is otherwise a completely objective and reflective practice. Um, yeah, guardian angels and Jewish Kabbalah, numerology from way back, and it's like none of that made any sense to me as a completely secular person, and if anything, it only drove me further away. But moving on, I was growing pretty tired with the company I was working with, because they were, whilst I loved my team and my boss was great, and I very much enjoyed parts of the day-to-day, there were some other significant parts that were wearing me down. And I'd been with that particular company longer than I had been with anyone else, upwards of about 4 to 5 years, and it was not a place that I enjoyed being anymore. It was just a place that I happened to be, and as a result, I started looking for a way out. And once again, I had lots of people coming to me and talking to me about all sorts of things, mostly within work, but also they would be talking to me about relationships, or they'd be talking to me about things to do with money or problems that they had, and they would always seem to want advice or value the advice that I could offer. Not that I would often give an awful lot of advice. I would sit, listen, and then either be brutally honest or just suggest to them that maybe there's another way of looking at things. In which case I came across life coaching again, and this time I went, okay, I'm going to look at this more openly. There are crazy people in every single area of life, whether they are crazy to a religious extent, crazy in the fact that they don't the things that they believe don't add up, or in numerous other ways. I was going to go in and take a look again, and I came across some coaching courses from an academy in London, very well regarded overall, and they had their certification day to either begin courses or just to find out what coaching was completely free for 2 days. So I went and took a look, and everything that they were saying there made perfect sense to me, and so I signed on to the courses. I continue to do those and develop myself and so on and so forth into the future, but then I ended up setting myself up by myself and doing some corporate, more company-based coaching, but most of the coaching that I've been doing since I started flying solo and started my company Silver Mountain Coaching has been on a personal level. A lot of it with students or younger people who, especially in how turbulent the world is at the moment, they don't seem to completely know where they stand, or they don't know how to deal with the things that are being thrown at them by university, work, parents, loved ones, society as a whole in some instances. And so I've endeavoured to help these people. And as far as they tell me, and from the results that they see, I've been doing a good job, and that's why I want to bring this to a much larger forum. But I'll talk about that in another video. But ultimately, one of the reasons why I just wanted to make this video was just that I feel like it's important the same way it's important for me to know my client and for my client to know who I am, I wanted to have the same understanding with you guys. So this is me. I'm Seb Tudor. I'm the man on the Silver Mountain. I'd love to meet every single one of you, but unfortunately that's not quite realistic. But feel free to leave me a comment in the description below, and if what I've said sounds interesting so far, then please subscribe. Have a good day.